All right, number 31, it talks about spinning coins and says suppose you're testing the claim that a coin comes up tails more than 50% of the time when this coin is spun on a hard surface, okay? And steps 1 and 2 of the hypothesis test are given, and you got 22 tails and 30 spins. Okay, so what we observed is 22 tails out of 30 spins. Alright, so they've already done the null and alternative hypotheses for us, which is the proportion of tails that we get is equal to 0.50, and the proportion versus the alternative, where that the proportion of tails is more than 0.50. Okay, P is proportion of tails. Okay, in part 2, they've checked the conditions. Okay, so conditions are checked, conditions are met, or they've assumed that they are met. And so now we have to figure out our test statistic. Okay, so our test statistic is what we observed minus what we stated in our null divided by our standard error. So what we observed, our p hat, is that 22 out of 30 spins came up tails. So we observed 22 divided by 30, 0.733. Okay, so what we observed is 0.733. Our null hypothesis says we're expecting a difference, or a proportion of tails to be 0.50, and we've got to figure out our standard error. So our standard error, we use the number in our null hypothesis, so we use 0.50 times 1 minus 0.50, which is also 0.50, divided by our n, which is 30. So 0.5 times 0.5 divided by 30 gives me that. I take the square root of that, and I get 0.0913. Okay, so I'm going to just put that on the bottom for my standard error. And so the proportion that I observe, 22 over 30 minus 0.5 divided by my standard error. The z-score that I get is 2.56. This is my test statistic. This is the z-score. So according to my picture, I have the z-score at 2.56, and my alternative is the greater than, so I only do one tail because HA has a greater than symbol in it. So that just means I only go in the one tail direction. So I look up 2.56, and the number that I look up when I get 2.56 is 0.9948. So that means the area over here is 0.9948. So that means the area over on this side is going to be 0.0052. 2.56, 0.0052. And so my p-value for this test, okay, the p-value is equal to 0.0052. That's going to be less than my alpha, which is, they didn't state an alpha, but if I use alpha 1% or alpha 5%, okay, so even with alpha equal to 0.01, my p-value is less than alpha, so I reject the null hypothesis, which means I conclude the proportion that it lands tails is more than 50%. And that's that.